Okay, so we are starting Chapter 9, Analytic Geometry. We're going to be doing conics. So remember when we created our double napped cones last class out of Play-Doh, a conic section is just the intersection of the plane and that double napped cone. So you see the diagrams over to the right on the notes. Here is our general form of the quadratic relation. Just everything multiplied out. A parabola is a quadratic. We can either have an x squared or a y squared with that parabola. So there's your equation right there. Set of all fixed points in the plane that are equidistant from a fixed line, which would be the directrix. Here's the fixed line, and a fixed point, the focus. And your vertex is going to be right in the middle. So here's our vertex right there. Equidistant from our focus and directrix. Axis of symmetry is right here. That's that vertical line straight through the parabola. Axis of symmetry formula, negative b over 2a. X equals negative b over 2a. Just a review from your algebra classes. Standard equation of a parabola is right here. So this is in vertex form, so you'd be able to clearly see the vertex because the x value of the vertex would be the h and the y value of the vertex would be the k. So what you do is you substitute in the h and the k, which is your vertex, and then there's a new variable, which is p right here. P is going to be your distance from your vertex to your focus, which is actually equidistant from the vertex to the directrix. So it's this distance right here. When your P is greater than 0, you're going to have a happy face parabola. It's going to be facing upward. It's positive. When your P is less than 0, you have that sad face parabola, which is facing downwards. All right, focus lies p units. We just talked about that. If you're on the origin, this is what your parabola is going to look like. It's going to be x minus 0 squared would be 4p times y minus 0. So it just is this because those zeros, we could just get rid of them. All right, now we are going to do parabolas that can face to the left or right. So notice how these parabolas that face to the left or right, we have the y part is squared. So if your y part is squared, it's going to be, that's your indication that it's going left or right. If your p is positive, it's going to the right. If your p is negative, it's going to the left. And again, p is the distance from the vertex to the focus. Okay, so how do we do these problems? We're going down here, and the first thing you have to decide is this, what type of parabola is it? So I see that the y is squared. So that tells me that we're going left or right. Now, how do we know if we're going left or right? Well, I'm going to look at this part right here, the 16. This is positive, so it's going to open to the right. Okay, so the general equation is y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. Okay, now here we don't have a k, we don't have an h, so that's telling me, oh, my vertex, let's see if I could change the color of the ink. Nope, not there. There we go. All right, I'll go pink. The vertex would be 0, 0. So here's a little sketch. There's my vertex. Now I know I'm opening to the right, so I'm just going to sketch it in going to the right. It doesn't really matter, you know, how wide you make your parabola. Then we're going to look at this little part, the 16. Now in our equation, the 4p is where the 16 should be. So I'm going to set 4p equal to 16, and that tells me, solve for p, that p equals 4. Okay, so that is going to be your distance that the vertex is from the focus and directrix. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Your focus is going to lie inside that parabola. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my directrix. Okay, so we got our vertex. The focus is right here. And that's going to be at your point 40. Directrix, that's that vertical line right there, x equals -4. Okay, so the next one, number 2, now we have the x's squared. So I notice the x's squared. That tells me that I'm going to have a parabola which is going to be opening up, up or down. Up or down. Now how do we know if it's up or down? Well, I'm looking at the 12 right here, and that's positive, so that's going to tell me that it opens up. So that's going to be an x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. So these are equations that you need to have memorized. All right, so looking at that, I could tell the vertex right away because the h and the k are 1 for the k and 2 for the h. So my hk, which is the vertex, is -2, comma 1. Notice how there's a negative in the equation already, that minus h, so it had to have been a -2 that was subbed in there. All right, now I'm going to make my little sketch. My vertex is -2, 1. Here's my vertex. I know I'm opening upwards, so I'm just going to sketch it going upwards. And now I have to figure out my focus and my directrix. So let me change the color. All right, so 12 is in the 4p spot, so I'm going to set 4p equal to 12, divide by 4. My p equals 3. That tells me I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. There's your focus. Put an F right there. Go down 1, 2, 3. There's my directrix. All right, so my directrix, that's a horizontal line now, so that's going to be y equals -2. The focus was this point up here, and that was the point -2, comma 4. Okay, so number 3, I see that it's y squared. That's going to tell me I'm either going left or right. Now this one, we have a negative right here in that 4p spot. So since it's negative, that's going to be going to the left. So y minus h, nope, k is always with y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h. Our vertex is going to be -1, 3, looking at where the h and the k is. -1, 3. All right, I'm gonna set the -8 equal to 4p. That's telling me p is equal to -2. Now p is your distance away your vertexes from your focus and your directrix. So it's an absolute value. So what I'm gonna do is sketch my line. Need to put in my vertex, so the vertex is -1, 1, 2, 3. And I know it's going left, so I'm just gonna draw it in going left. Okay, and now I'm gonna put in my focus and my directrix. So the focus is always in between your sides of your parabola. So we gotta just go 1, 2 spaces right there. There's our focus. And then go 2 spots or 2 spaces in the other direction. There's your directrix. All right, so our focus was -3, 3. Directrix was x equals 1. All right, number 4. Going to be either going up or down. So how do we know where it's going? We're looking at that -12 that's in the 4p spot. Actually, let me make this, I'll go blue. Okay, so this is going to be going up or down. Since the x is squared, -12 tells me that it's going down. All right, my vertex, I'm looking there and there. I could tell that's going to be -2, 3. Set -12 equal to 4p. We get p equals -3. Make a little sketch. -2, 3 is right there for your vertex. Face it going downwards. I'm gonna go up 3, 2, 3. Right there for my, nope, that's gonna be my directrix, not my focus. So let me make a line there. Go down 1, 2, 3. There's my focus. So the focus is -2, 0. Directrix is y equals 6. Okay, so now we're going to go backwards. It says write the equation of each parabola described. So our vertex is 0, 0. So I would definitely do a sketch here. Put in a little point at 0, 0. Our focus is 2, 0. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and here's where my focus should be. So now I'm going to say, all right, well, I know that this parabola is going to go to the right because that focus has to be in between the 2 sides of that parabola. And then that tells me that the p equals 2. Right here is going to be your p. P equals 2, so we can go 2 in the opposite direction and draw on that directrix. Okay, so if p equals 2, then 4p, which is in our equation, and remember for a sideways going right or left, it's going to be y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h, and we need to sub in the p, the h, and the k. 4p is going to be equal to, well, we know p is 2, so it's going to be 4 times 2, so 8. And the h and k is our vertex, which is 0, 0. So we don't need to sub in anything for those, so it's just going to be y squared equals 8x. Okay, so next one, again, definitely make a sketch. Vertex is now 0, 3. 1, 2, 3, draw on your vertex. Okay, focus is 0, 0. There's my focus. So that tells me, okay, I'm going downwards. So this is going to be x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. All right, so this is our hk that we could sub in right there. The p is going to be 3. Right here, there's p. We can go up 1, 2, 3. There's my directrix right there. All right, so then 4p will be 4 times 3, which is 12. But we're going downward, so it's actually going to be a negative 12, our 4p. That negative, since we're going downwards from the vertex to our focus, you could put it in as a negative. And then it's going to be x minus 0 squared equals negative 12 y minus 3. Or you could just write it as x squared equals negative 12 times y minus 3. And just leave these in vertex form. Don't like multiply them out or anything. All right, last one over here. We have our vertex at 2, 4. Focus is at 2, 6. So there's the focus. All right, that's telling me that we are going upwards on there. An up or down one is going to be in the x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k squared, not squared. That part should not be squared. All right, so we know that here's our h, here's our k. The p is going to be 2. P equals 2. We can go down to right here. There's our directrix. So 4p, 4 times 2 is going to be 8. So then just sub in your hk and your 4p. It's going to be x minus 2 squared equals 8 y minus 4. All right, number 8, write the equation of the parabola shown. All right, so what do we have? A vertex right on the origin. There's our vertex. Is 0, 0. It looks like between the vertex and the directrix, and here's where the focus would be, we have 3. P equals 3. Four p is going to be 4 times 3, which is 12. So it should be an x minus h squared, since it's going upwards, equals 4p y minus k. X minus 0 squared equals 12 times y minus 0, or x squared equals 12y. Okay, for 9, now we have parabolas like completely multiplied out. So what we have to do is figure out how to get them into that vertex form where we could see it easily. So we're going to need to do a little bit of completing the square. First thing I'm noticing is the x is squared, so that tells me we're going up or down. Okay, so whatever one is squared, I'm going to keep on the left-hand side. So I'm going to keep the x squared on the left-hand side. I'm going to put the 2x, leave that with it. And then I'm going to put a little blank right there because I need to complete the square. The 16y and the 31 are coming over to the right-hand side. Okay, so let's complete the square. You had a little bit of that on your homework last night, so hopefully you're pretty familiar with it. To complete the square, remember we're doing b minus 2 squared. So the b is negative 2, so it's negative 2 over 2 squared, which is negative 1 squared. So we're just adding 1 right there. If we add 1 on the left, make sure you add 1 to the right. And then that perfect square trinomial is going to be x minus 1 squared. Remember, whatever your b divided by 2 was, see how it's negative 1, it goes right in here. Okay, equals, this is 16y plus 32. Now I want this to look in a nice form, so I want to pull out that 16 and then keep the y plus 2 right there. Okay, and now we're in the nice like x minus h equals 4p y minus k form. Right, x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. That's in that form. So now we can figure out what the vertex, focus, and directrix is. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, let me make my work. A little bit smaller, so I have more room there. Okay, so let me do a little bit of a sketch. Okay, I can see from this my vertex is going to be 1, negative 2. One, negative 2, graph that right there. Okay, 4p, so 4p is going to equal 16, so my p equals 4. Now, I can also tell the way this is that since this is positive, I'm going to be going upwards. So that's upwards. So then let's go 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my focus. Go down 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my directrix. So the focus looks like it's at the point 1, 2. The directrix looks like that is at the line y equals negative 6. Okay, so same kind of thing for number 10. We have to do y squared plus 6y, leave a blank, negative 8x plus 25, complete the square there. 6 divided by 2 is 3 squared, so we have plus 9. Plus 9, that's going to be y plus 3 squared equals negative 8x plus this should be a minus 16. I knew there was something wrong here. All right, that's a minus 16. All right, negative 8x minus 16. Okay, and then that's y plus 3 squared is negative 8 x plus 2. Okay, so definitely a sideways since the y is squared. It's going to be facing to the left since I see that negative in the 4p spot. So here's a sketch. Vertex is going to be negative 2, negative 3. There's your H, there's your K. Put that on your sketch, opening up to the left. are 4p. 4p is negative 8. So p is negative 2. There's your focus. There's the directrix right there. So focus is at the point -4, -3. Directrix is at x equals 0. All right, standard form of the equation of the parabola with a focus at 1, 2, and directrix at x equals 3. All right, so make a sketch. Focus is at 1, 2. There's the focus. Directrix is at x equals 3, so I know that that is a vertical line going through 3. And now our vertex has to be right halfway in between the two of them, so that has to be right here for our vertex. And our focus is going to be in between the vertex, so I'm going to have to make my parabola going to the left. That tells me I have a y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. Vertex, our hk, is 2, 2. P looks like it's just 1. Now it's going to be negative because we're going to the left, so 4p is going to be 4 times -1, which is -4. So sub in all those values, y minus 2 squared equals -4 times x minus 2. All right, almost done. Hang in there, we got one last little thing. Reflective property of a parabola. Tangent line to a parabola at point P makes equal angles with the following two lines. You know what? I think this, we could probably save and we could do it in the beginning of class next time. I want to go through this in person. So thank you very much for listening, and let me know what questions you have next time.